All right, so I'm sharing my screen now. I just shared my screen. Is it visible from your end?
Yes.
All right, so we start from where we stopped yesterday. We looked at data frame manipulations and a lot of that. So today, this is one of the, I'll just try and explain this, then from here we pick up. So this is one of the method of manipulating data. Okay, so I did talk about that. Let me just go like a kind of very brief intro. Data frame manipulation in pandas involve editing and modifying existing data frames. Of course, we've been talking about data frames since last week. You know what it is now. And some common data frame manipulations include adding rows and columns, removing rows and columns, then renaming rows and columns. Of course, you will see all of that today. But in the course of last class, we did the first one, adding rows and column. Okay, but we did not handle this. But just a quick overview of this is how creating a data frame from Python dictionary. You're very familiar with this. A name with list of names, H with list of names, and just to note that each column maintains the same data type. You have to take note of that, that each column maintains the same data type. You can say strings with consistency, integer with consistency, and qualifications with consistency. Then this is a variable name where we create the data frame from this Python dictionary. Now we needed to add from here, we need to add a new row to this dictionary. All right. So this is it. I assign my list of row to address, and address will give us a new row. So we are not dealing with data frame since we converted this to data frame. And from here, I call this variable and assigned, like the new column will be address, and I assign address, all of this to address, which is all of this is assigned, like it's stored here, and I print from. So initially, this was address, and before we have this. So if I come here and print
Great.
frame, that is print frame before modification, before modification. All right, frame. Then before here, I could say print after modification. Okay, I don't need to do this again. Call frame since it's already done here. So to have a new line, I will just say print. So this should give us a new line. So if I should save and run that, shouldn't take long. You should be able to see the pd.data type. What's going on here? pd.data type. I think it's network. PD is not defined. Okay, so I tried to use this imports and it's not responding, so I have to import from here. I was trying to use from here. So import. Okay, so if I should save and run that. It should work now. Okay, so just this, I was trying to refer to the one we used previously. Maybe network or to some reason it didn't identify that. So just import that. Okay, so you could see before modification, this is before modification, I should leave a new line. Where did you get that here? And I'll take this out to give us a new line. And I save and run that before modification. Let me comment that out now because I needed it to, it's conflicting with what I wanted to do. Okay, so after modification, where is my before modification? Print frame. Okay, so I could say before modification. All right, save and run that. Okay, so before modification, yeah, that's what I want now. We have names, and of course, you know this is and by default the label, except you manually set it, and we did see how we can do that last week. So name for the column name, age for the column of age, and qualification for the qualification of all of these people. So this is me before trying to modify, like trying to add a new column. So that's so after modification, we have name, age, qualification, and address. So this is what where we left, and I want to continue from here. So we first of all handle adding rows to column. Okay, like adding a new column to what we previously had. So let's look at adding a column, or rather adding a row. Okay, let me get a text source first. Adding a new row. Okay, I want to build that. Come here. So still working on the import statement, I'll just say data equals to, okay, let me pick this to save time. And from here, let me do this now. Subsequently, I won't do it again. A convert a dictionary to data frame. All right. And of course, to do that, either is df data frame for short. You could name it anything, but I'm trying to be descriptive. Okay, let me pick this. So I convert it, and before this, I could say original data frame, and I'll print the data frame. This will give us a new line, and let me add a new row. Add a new row. So for that, I want to add a new row to this data frame. So I'll call df dot log And I forgot to say that adding a new row, we use the lock property. So adding a new row to data frame is not quite straightforward, like as adding a new column. All right. So we use this property, a lock property, to add a new row to Pandas data frame. So I'm trying to do that now. I'm just receiving some sign. Okay. Hope it did not last me because I'm just getting some sounds.
No, no, I'm with you.
All right. So we use this property, and I want to add a new row to this data frame. So df dot log, and I will use the length function. Length functions this first. Get to explain that first. Length, and it's a function. You need to call this, and at each index showing rate, because I need to call df here first. Then I'll now assign it to what row. I would say maybe anything first, and that should be a string. And would assign the age of what? Let's say, um, okay, so let me pick this age, these two. It's so after modification and all of that. So let's see what is happening here. So in this example, like Army 21 and BAB is the data frame I add to the original one. And here now, our point of concentration is this length, then df dot index. So what this does is that, of course, you know what your length function does, that it returns what? You still remember what the length function do? You've
Yes,
forgotten.
the
So it
length.
the number, yeah. So in this case, I want it to return the number of rows in this data frame. So that's why I'm accessing it. Then here again, I'm using the log property there to access the row with what? With index. Okay, and what value is goes here. So what this line does is that it accesses the row with index value enclosed by what? These square brackets. Right. So if I save and run that, you should see the new row being added. Okay, so this is the original data frame, and you could see me age, I set it to 21, and qualification MB, and the
I
length.
have a question.
You can go ahead.
Why didn't you specify a figure in the length where the data was to appear?
Sorry. So
Why
now
didn't
this
you?
log function access, I don't know if you listen, this log function access the row with index. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Access the row with index value enclosed in. So now for here, I get your point. I could actually want to impute to at any point of maybe at the middle or before then. But yesterday
Yes.
class we talked about the age and the tail and all of that. So if you watch the recording, you get to. All right.
Okay.
So you could either access the row, but the length function returns the length of the row, and this log function what access the row index. All right. Okay. So if we've added the what's column here in this example, this other one we add a row to it, then we could also remove or what this remove can also call it deletes, any deletes or remove rows and column. All right, so let me bold that. Can you see my screen, or I should zoom in again?
I can
Okay.
see.
All right, let me see if I can get my initial data to be fast. Is it my network? Oh, okay. If not, I'll create it by myself. Data, and we set name. Typing will be hard. I think I can copy to help us save some time. So I'll just come here and get all of this. I'll be doing that to copy. Copy selection to save us some typing time because of time. All right, I'll still work with that, and I need to create a data frame from that. PD dot data frame, and what's data. So we say display or prints. Let me use the print system. Prints prints original data frame. And what is the original data frame?
Data.
DF, not data. Data is a Python dictionary and a
Okay, yeah.
data from, yeah. So let's get a new line. Make it okay. Nice. So here I will delete or remove. Delete or remove what? Let's say we can specify what you ask now, but for this to delete or remove data frame is another property called drop. Drop. So drop delete rows and column from the data frame. Let's see that. So let me take a particular row here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, it's up to 4. Let me say 4. Delete or remove row. It's index 4 is up to 4, 0, 1. If index 3 is up to 4,
3.
0, 1, 2, 3, yeah. And here what from here we are dealing with the data frame now. So okay, let me pick here. df.drop 3, so prints after modification, right? And df original data frame, and Sandra is no longer here.
Let me see. Sorry, can I see? Okay.
Yeah, I'll leave it for some. Okay, so I can even come here and specify just something like prints. Before then, let me leave it. Coming. Okay, so I'll come down, print a new line. And let me try and select rows. So I'll say df dot drop rather. Okay. Let me select an index. Let's say 1 and 2. 1,2. And at what I should pick the axis as 0. You have a lot of questions, but when I drop the first recording, it will help you. Axis equals to 0, and in place 0 true sets that it should deal with the original data frame. Let's get it first. I'll make the introduction, the explanation. Okay, so I forgot my square brackets here. And if I save all things being equal, drop 1, 3, not 3, let's say 2. We already deal with 3, so it's an error, and axis, yeah, 0 in place true. And okay, this should give us what we want. So after modification, I want, first of all, took 3 out. So we left with what? 1 and 2, you did not in glory, so it's only promise is it. So what is going on here, that in this example, this last at the late row using what's label. Of course, you know label, this by default. Okay. So using label, and I assign it my label towards first of all take 3. And I also delete multiple rows from here with label of what 1 and 2, like passing this argument to it. So now what this axis 0 does here is that although it's already there when you watch the recording, but what this does is that it indicates that the row had to be what's deleted row. We have your row and your column row first. So yeah, if it's 1, it's so here it's indicates that row are to be what deleted, and in place true indicates that the changes are to be made to the original data frame. Here, original data frame, not the modified one. I'll
Okay,
leave
so
it
if
for
we're to
some time.
delete a column, if we're to delete column, the axis would have been 1.
Yeah, the axis would have been 1, and we'll look at that now. That should be
Okay.
an example. Look at that now. Or better still, let me still maintain this. Okay. I might want to copy. Let me get this and say data equals to, okay, thank God it's out. So I'll take this instead of typing. You can have a lot. We saw in the other class where we had up to about 11. Is Sandra in the call? We promise. Okay. I know it's here where he had a lot of data. So it can be a lot more than this. We are now working with large I should have put it data sets. Okay. And mind you, we will be talking, this can also be a file. Of course, we talk about it as a topic on its own. Now, this data can be a file, a prepared file with a lot of columns and rows. Okay, so the same thing can work in when the same applications, all right? I'm applying to the same method that I'm applying to this is what you can still do there. So try and imagine something larger or bigger than this. So when we get to work with it, feel like wow and all of that. But we get to see that in our next class. So picture this as a very large should I say file, either CSV file, that is your comma separated value, and either your JSON file, all of that. But this I have to use this for the illustration. Okay, so to say DF data frame, yeah, data frame, data frame. So let's okay, move to, this is not what I want, so I'll have to modify it to my, okay, so all of this is out, and I will use df dot what dot log. Don't forget, follow me. Is it lock or drop? What do we use to delete? Don't forget also drop.
Drop.
Yeah, let me pick this. And let's try and drop the edge. And of course, you will see that this axis is now 1. Here we add 0 to show that we are dealing with what the row. So we are not dealing with, yeah, column. I'll set it to 1, and in place true. Of course, you know that what this does is that it's telling you that the modification or whatever everything should be channeled to the original data frame. Okay, so let's me run and save that. Where is age? Modify, and age is no longer here. I've saved it. But instead of just you can also assign, like, manually mention how should I say, a status from here. Let me experiment that for you to see what I mean. So we have qualification, okay, and I could come here and say print new lines of output. And at here, I could either make it a list of words, column, or individual. Okay, so if I want to use a list of column, you know that I'm to pass what your square brackets. Okay, so let me even do that here. Let me do that now. From here, what to complement here, right? And I'd say I leave a comma and call what's maybe qualification. Qualification. Okay. Qualification, not one.
You're not putting code.
Yeah. Okay, so this is how to, like, delete a list of words. So okay, let's see if there's an error. The end of drop age, qualification, and words should be the okay. So it should give us what we want. Is out. Okay. So let me leave it here. Let me leave it for some minutes, and you see what is happening there. So this is me trying to do what delete multiple column with labels, and my labels, I use age, qualification, arguments. You know what this does is indicates that the column had to be deleted, and this indicates that the changes had to be made to the original data frame. Right. So you see your levels. You have a name, age, qualifications. So if we can add, we can delete, we can also rename data frame. Rename data frame. And renaming data frame in Pandas, we use the rename function for that. Okay, let me see if I can be lucky this time around to get my, okay, I'm lucky. Instead of typing, So we create what's a data frame from this. You're familiar with that. And let me print to set it out. Print original data frame. So what's the original data frame? Are you with me? What's the original data
Yes.
frame?
Yes.
The beautiful. Okay, and let's get a new line. So from here, I'll rename data frame. So let me say this name, since it's only one, I could say rename it to, let's rename data frame H, or name rather. Let me do it. Name to be what? First name, first underscore name. Okay, so let's say that. I made mention of the name. Okay, so this beautiful tickets to help set them. So I call this function rename, which does what? Rename this name to what? First name, and in place is telling us we should all modifications should be done to the original data frame. Let me save and run that. First name. So this is out to rename a single label. So let's see how we can rename multiple. So from here, you want to set H to number. So just add word. So you set H to what's address. H to number. Okay. You can even set qualification to merit, but you get the gist here, you get the point on what you're trying to do. Let's check out for error, rename, and what are we renaming column? So we set our column, this is the column we're talking about, name to first name, age to number. I could add qualification, maybe to merit or however you want to call it. Like this is an idea of giving a meaningful name, okay, to what you have previously. Let me save and run that. First name, number, and could change qualification to merit and all of that, but the gist as it meant. So this is name, renaming what? Are you even with me? Column,
Renaming data frame.
yeah, but you can also rename the row now.
Yes.
Okay, so let's see that. Could set an index. This has to do with indexing. Can I still use here? Well, let's see. This original data frame, and before that, I can come here and rename the column. So df dot, yeah, rename column. I'm not dealing with column now, so I have to type rename. And once you are dealing with the row, know that the index has to be set index. Say, Gloria, what should be the index now? Now that we're talking about column. Okay, don't worry. After this one, you can handle the rest. Let me undo this one.
Okay.
So we could say 0, say, okay, and at 2. Then what we are dealing with the original data frame. So we use inference true. So we could say rename to differentiate, rename column with label. Label L at last. So all things being equal should run. How can I squeeze this for you to see? At index 0, that is now the parameter. So let me take down my screen a bit for you to see. I think it's small now. Can you see from here? Gloria, I'm trying to. Can you see from here?
Yes, I can see.
Okay. So what are you seeing?
No? Okay.
At zero, I renamed it to 2.
Two, yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah. Okay. So you can either rename single or you rename multiple from this where yeah. So it's just for you to add comma and map it, maybe 1, and you say you can let 1 be 5 anyhow. Say 1 and you map it to let's say 5. Hope we don't have 5 previously. Is it up to 5? No. Okay. So if I save and run that, for this yeah. For this I have to, but let me run it now. It might throw error. Why? Because I have to set the index to 0 since we are dealing with column. But let's see if it will run. Okay, you need to. Where is 1? One is
5.
okay. So I already set this to 0. Now let me do something here. Watch, rename column. Instead of this, I'll rename and call the the mapper function to help map each of them. Mapper er. Okay, and instead here I could say index. You have to take note to your next project is this week. Or yeah, index axis rather. Axis set it to 0. Okay. df dot rename mapper, and I map 0 to 1, 2, complements this. Why this warning? Let's see. I'm trying to set a multiple column here. Multiple index index and df rename, then I map it, assign 0 to 2 1 to this comma axis. Okay, yeah, I need to have a comma here and it's gone. So let's go 1 to 5. This is 0 where we map it to 2, and this is the one where we map it to 5. So these are ways you can arrange your file. Let me call it that because I already told you to imagine it. You can rename it, you can add, you can delete rows, you can do some modifications in between columns and rows. So I'll leave this. This is actually much, but I'll leave it for you for 2 seconds to see what you can get out of there. Any question from here? Okay, no question. We'll proceed to the next one. We've been talking about it, but let's see how its applications to Pandas data frame, which is indexing and slicing and slicing. That is spelling, yes.
Sorry to take you back. If we are renaming in the previous one, we renamed a column. We changed it from name to first name. So how are we not renaming this row we are renaming now? Are we just renaming just numbers?
So we dealt with column, all right, and here I renamed the column with what, with its row, like with its label, rather with its label. By default, you should have this label, this 012 by default, but you
Okay.
can rename it. Yeah, so that is what I'm doing here.
Okay, so renaming a row does not mean us changing. Let's say we want to change using that.
Now, this row, how do you map this row? It's to the label, right? So if you want to access promise now, it's 2 and go to name at 2 or 2 at name, however you want, which one you want to place first, and you access in promise. Then age at what? 2 at age gives 20, and 2 at or qualification at 2 give what?
So if
Qualification,
you
okay.
want to rename that, okay.
I don't know if you get it. So this is just the output. The output has no logic. The logic is here. So that is why I leave it for you to look at it. This has to do with the column, but here has to do with the column, but specifically to, like, specific to what, the label. All right. So we get to indexing, and do I still need to bold it? No need. So let's just go. So indexing and slicing, we've been seeing this since we worked on Python to NumPy and then now to Pandas. So in Pandas, indexing refers to, of course, you know what it does, accessing rows and column of data from what? From data frame. Whereas slicing refers to accessing what? A range, sorry about that, a range of rows and column. And we can access data or range of data from data frame with different methods. So we will see that. So while talking about indexing or accessing, what operator should come to your mind? That's the question I'm throwing at you. What operator should come to your mind talking about indexing and slicing? Hope is on my network. Can you hear me, Glory?
I can hear you.
Yeah, so I'm asking a question now. So while talking about indexing and slicing, what operator should come to your mind? My people forget so soon. The bracket operator, please. Your project is, it should have been this week, but next week, so you read up. Okay. I'm using this so it will save some typing. And from here, you could get a data frame df dots and all of that. Okay, so now let's assess let's assess how many column? 1, 2, 3. Okay, so let's assess column with what? With name. To say assess the name column. So this is a variable, call it name or null name. And what's from df, I the one that says it. I just talk about it now, the square brackets. And what do we want to assess? Name. No dots. That's why it's. And what's our prince name? You're familiar with this now, it's not strange. We've been working with this from Python till we get to where we are today. 1, 2, 3, 4, prince. What am I printing? Names. So look up, please. In this example, this particular one, I use this name. So I'm trying to access the name column of the data frame. So I use this operator like the square brackets. And of course, it will return a series containing the value of the name. So if I should say series, what should come to your mind? We talked about series last week, and today we're talking about data frame. We talk about series. Look at this and look at what will be on the screen. Have you seen the difference? We talk about series as a 1D data structure in Pandas, and today, this week we're talking about data frame as well, 2D. And this is not you people now. You used to respond. Is it network or you forgot?
Yeah, we are here.
Please. So this is me assessing a single column. Sorry, my voice is not still strong. So I can access multiple column. It's just for me to add another square bracket. Maybe add a comma and what again? Let's say
You can add
age.
qualification.
Okay, qualifications for the qualification. Page qualification. Okay, so let's print that out. Print so age and qualification. Any question? I'm going to be a bit fast because we've been working with this.
No.
So we use the lock. No. Okay. So we used the lock property previously to access or modify data, okay, within data frame. Like in a label based, we're going to talk about lock in a label based indexing. So what does that do? It allows us to select specific rows and columns based on their label. So let's see that here now. Data. Thank God I'm lucky. This comes out safe typing. Okay. DF dot PD dot data frame. I don't need all of this, so I will do my own modification. So now let's me access a single row instead. A single row. Say single underscore row. Okay, yes. Okay, accessing a single and I call the log function. Let's go first with the row one. Print single row. Are people with me?
Yes.
Since we use one, it starts from this, so we could access rows, multiple rows. So instead of that, we could say, come here, prints this, come out of it, say rows, or row list. Rows. Okay, let me just call it rows, and I'll assign it to you. Is it 1, 2, 3? Okay, so it's up to 3. Yeah, 1, 3. Or I could say there are many ways of doing it. We say 0, 1, and say 2. 0, 1, 2. So print. Let me save and run that. Okay, so I setted that. Let's see. df.log. Can someone tell me why we have this quickly? This is not you people. Oh. What is going on? Hmm? Okay, so let me do like this. Let me just work on. Am I even together? Are you guys with me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay, but you're not responding.
so this second one, okay, I've seen it.
You say?
I was about to ask what this second rules, this second function code you entered does, but I've seen it.
Okay, so let me take out the output for you to see. I seen the output and the code.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what's the question? This line, right?
Yes.
Select 1, 0, 1, 2 from here. This is what it means. Rather, the first one selects only one, like the second index, which is UDNAT. But this one starts from where 0, 1, 2, which is promise, UDNAT, and glory.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what's the question?
I understand now.
Okay, beautiful. Okay, so let me still use this. Permit me to still use this for column. So we say column hash column access. All right, so we say column. Okay, I love this. It helps a lot. Still using the log to access. And here, you know what this means? We are through the row, so that is why it's telling leave everything through and thank God you are name. So you could either add a single name or list of name. So first of all, print this. Where. Let me get a new line first. Okay, so access just the name, which is promise, using ads, this. Now, why is this all of this method even important? Yeah, it helps you to check out for errors and um, easy, what should I say? It is accessibility. Okay, maybe you needed a particular row or column to add, modify, or check out for errors. You can use this. Any question?
No.
Okay, so let's go for indexing. For slicing, this is this for indexing. But let's slice using what? Using lock with to access a range of rows and columns. So if we sequentially access a data frame, say maybe from index one to any index, we can call it a slice. You know what that means? This method where let me do something now. This is what I mean. This using the column operator for slicing, and you are aware of this. Okay, so let me still see if I'll be lucky to use okay bit if I'm lucky. Let's still use this to save typing. First of all, convert it to df equals to pd dot data frame. So I don't need all of this. Convert it to data frame. So here I will say slice rows. So where are we slicing from? Let's say from index for one, how many? 1, 2, 3, 0, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so let's say from index 1 to 3. You could call it slice or however you want it, SL. I'll call it SL. Slice rule. So let's say SL rule. And what are we working with? We want to work with the original data frame. So df dot lock and from 1 to 3. This I don't need it. We talk about it later. So just comment it out to when we get there. So this will return. This will help me slice row and column using this log and from 1 to 3. 0 is left out. 1, 2, 3. All right. And we could specify it to specify it using the column name. So let me do that. That is what this line did. I'm going to comment it and comment it as column for rows, and this is column now as the log and name and column slicing column. And where are we slicing from name to age, from name to age, AGE. So name to age, promise, rather name and age, we promise and their respective age will be from um, age and qualification, age and qualification. Does it make sense? Age and qualification, let's rather get name and their individual qualification. Name and qualification. Name and Mm,
Name and
okay.
qualification, but added age.
Yeah. Yes. I'm throwing that to you.
Okay,
This
okay, the whole thing.
from name to qualification. So we could even have a boolean, a boolean indexing, still using the lock operator. So when we talk of boolean indexing, what should come to your mind? We've worked on that last week, if I'm not mistaken.
True or false?
So it's either true or false, but this time around is going to be in the form of arguments. New line, let me get a new line. Three RINs. Okay, so we could say Boolean indexing with dot lock property dot lock. Yeah, so it gets bool and okay, yeah, let me take this. So what is going to do that is an argument which pass is going to return age, which is from what is greater than 30. So if I save and run that, we have space, yeah, age, and we have from GD states 22 and 41 for O, UD is 32, 41 for Glory, and 35 for Sandra, 42, 41, and 85. Now we have opposites of, not just opposites, but with some, not just opposites, but with some differences. That is, we have the log.loc and ilog dot iloc. Okay, so what this one does is that with a property used to access, used to access and modify data frame using what integer based indexing. Integer based indexing. So it allows us to select specific row and column based on what? Based on their integer locations. You see that? Don't be confused. Don't be confused. Let me get another code cell. Can I be lucky to get the same data? Let's see. Data Safe typing. Oh, beautiful. Okay, let's get this df, convert it to data frame dots, data frame, and what's data. Okay, so now let's access first single row using the log property. Single underscore row. All right, this is beautiful. Which one? I'm doing something here. Can you see the difference? People are so dull today. What's the issue? Integer best indexing. So that's what I'm doing here. Any problem? Are you lost somewhere? If you're lost, you should ask questions. Am I too fast?
I think when you run it now, we'll see what the integer base whatever
And
does.
don't expect the output. You should know what the output is before you
To
run it.
get us to
Uh-huh.
understand it better.
So with this, you've understood better.
Let me see. I'm
Okay,
not seeing.
I should zoom in.
I'm
Okay,
not.
so let me
Okay.
zoom in.
So what's the difference between using df.iloc and df.loc with one?
This one is using integer breast indexing. Okay, so it's, how should I put it? It's pressed on their integer location one and this. Let me even get this to illustrate smooth. Instead of single, let me get like a list to access single from a new line and row list instead, like a list of row list underscore. Okay, this has helped me. So let's pick from 0, 1, and 2. 0, 1, and 2. 0, 1, and 2. Promise you do not and glory should be the output. Let's go back. 0, 1, 2. 0, 1, 2. And 1, 2, 0, 1, 2, 3. Okay, where is Sandra coming from? Let's see. Promise you do not glory. Okay, okay, beautiful, beautiful. For this line, we are accessing the row now with a list of row or a list of common column and a specific value using what integer value. Now, what this does is that it's not related to age, where you could be concerned with what the same data type, but at each in what integer index. By index, it's not the, how should I put it? Should I say the total, but where it starts from 0. So here we have 0, 1, 2, 3. Promise at index 0, which maps to the age. You did not at index 0, at index 1, which maps to 32. Glory at index 0, 1, 2, 2, which maps to 40, and Sandra at index
3.
3. Now, to even illustrate this, let me do something like this. How many are we? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So if instead of here, I would do something like this. Do something like this. Add a comma to explain later. Then I'll say from index, rather 0 to 2. Check this. So now this should return a slice column from position what? From position 1, rather position 0 to what? To 1, based on this range. Let me get take comments there. Slice row from position 1 to how many? 1 to, okay, 1 to 3 to 3. Now take note of this. I don't need this, so just take it out. That is why it's giving us warning. Let me save and run that. Where? Yeah, here. Let me scroll down to where we get that. Are you asking question? I'm waiting on. Or you've not. Let me reduce my screen to see if it can display everything. We'll start from here down. So just look at it for some few seconds and let me know what you get from there. Mind you, we are dealing with let's say row column here because we've let everything row to column.
So how is it 0 column 2?
Now it's going to pick. Sorry?
Go ahead.
Is it my son? Sandra, Glory, are you still in the call?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm asking, I left it, I'm not hearing you, or is it from my sound?
Yeah, I was saying you should go ahead with the explanation of the 0 column 2 part.
Now, this is where we should have all the column with name, age, and qualifications. But instead of calling it out, mind you, we are now dealing like using this alog, it's returning integer based. That way, I'm not calling the name here. So in this way, from this second row before it prints here, this is our concern. This is it. So it's giving what the name and the age, leaving what the last one as at 0, like leaving the qualification column out.
Okay, so if we are slicing from this your comment,
This is
if we are slicing,
this is it. This is the first one, second, and the third. So this is the second results I'm displaying now. That's why I'm covering the last one. Yeah, you're saying something. I'm listening.
I'm saying okay, so I'm
Hello,
saying if
Sandra.
we
Can
are
you hear her?
I'm still talking.
Oh God, Sandra.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Oh yeah, I
I
can
can
hear
hear
you now.
her.
Okay,
Okay,
yeah,
so
go
I was
ahead
saying
now.
comment you wrote, slice column from position 1 to 3. Shouldn't it be from position 0 to 3?
This is the second row I'm talking about. And for this range, it's not even from 0. Sorry for the comment. It should be 0 to 1 in this range. In this range from 0 to 1. Mind you, the ender is excluded.
Yes.
So I've been talking about that the name and the age column, leaving behind the qualification column. All right. So I'm slicing from from this. We are talking about column now, not row. So that is why this is from rows. So our concern is on the column. So I'm getting position 0 to 1.
And position 0 to 1 is name and age.
Is name and age. Or should I put it in brackets so that it will name and age?
Okay.
Name and age. Mind you, this ELOC word returns not in string but integer based location. Integer base. That's not spelling. Base location. Okay. So 0 and in this range 0 to 2, the ender is not included. This one 0 to 1. You still lost. This should click now, or you watch. What should I say? But let me make a quick differences between them. Then that should help you. Okay, they are here already. Okay, so for this, it is label, and for label, you know what it means. Label based indexing. This is what I mean for the label based indexing by default. This, okay, but for the ELOC, okay, for the ELOC, it is integer based indexing. All right. And in this one, endpoint is what is included. Endpoints included. But this one, of course, you saw it from our output that endpoints is not included. And this one supports Boolean indexing. Okay, but it's not supported here. Boolean indexing ing is not supported. Okay, then where do we use ELOC before? It is, yeah, for log it supports Boolean based indexing, but for ELOC it doesn't. What did I delete out that is giving error? Okay, are we still together? Oh, beautiful. So this differentiates, you get it now, that it supports integer based indexing and what endpoints is not included. Any question?
Support integer page. Probably we'll just read it up because supporting integer page.
Where are you confused?
supporting integer based and supporting label based.
Why is it that I'm not hearing the people? But can you hear me? What's
Yes,
happening?
I can hear you.
You're not muted. I should hear you. Oh God.
I can hear you. Can't you hear me?
Okay, yeah, I'm hearing you now.
Okay, please can you just show the notepad again? Let me see.
This was discussed extensively in our last class.
Okay.
Yeah, so people don't watch recording, I don't know. But
You not sent
since
the last one now.
okay, so I'm the one who did not send it. I don't know why I'm having difficulties to hear you. Or maybe we just stop the class to save the recording. But I think we've covered what we came in for. We've covered um all the method of manipulating data frames, where we
Friends.
get to rename them, we get to delete, we get to which one again do we talk about? We remove, we delete. What is remove and delete? We add, we remove or delete, and then again
Rename.
we rename and did some other modifications to it. So we stop there for today. Next class, I don't know if you don't have a file, you could just go and get a CS file because we'll be working with in data frame imports like how should I say imports and exports, where we'll be working with files and we see how we can clean our files, visualize it using Matplotlib. I hope time permits us, but that is what we'll do next class so that it will help you work on your next projects, which is database datasets manipulations and all of that. So that is it for today.